19 CF 7518. I have counsel for the State Defense and Mr. Quiles present. So I was able to talk with the attorneys during the break regarding scheduling with the jury, and I'll address that with the jury when they come back out. But I think we have a good game plan, and we'll obviously reconvene about it at the end of today. But I think we have a good game plan going forward that everybody agrees to. Mr. Davis, Ms. Michelle, if you need to talk to your client more about that and address me, and then we can talk about it later on as well, but I certainly will give you time to do so. But nonetheless, I think we're in a better spot than we were an hour and a half ago. State, so obviously I'm aware of your next witness and then your second witness this afternoon. I'm going to look to you to let me know when a good time is to take a break during the middle of your second witness, because I don't want the jury sitting there for 3 straight hours.
Yes, sir. Judge, if this inmate is relatively a normal witness, the second one's quick, we prefer to start with George Jackson and start the wire. It's long, so maybe at the hour mark of that.
I'm sorry. I said second witness. I meant the witness regarding the wire.
Yes, sir.
I want to start that witness before we take our mid-afternoon break. Give me a look as to when you want to stop the audio. You have an idea of that. And that way I'll give the jury a break during the middle of that. I am going to tell the jury during the audio, feel free to stand up and stretch at whatever portion they want to during that, so we can elongate that process.
Well, just to decide that now to save time, if it's around your normal break time and it's about halfway through, if the court says it's time to take a break, we'll stop it.
Just let me know. I'm not sure what the audio is going to say specifically, so
okay.
Just give me a good, just look, give me a look and stop it on your own, and I'll give you a look as well.
Yes, sir.
That way, it's a natural breaking point during the audio, so I'm not breaking up in something that's critical for you. And we do have copies of the transcripts that the jury will be given per stipulation of the parties. Anything else we need to handle before we call the jury in?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Davis?
Just have 1 second, because they're...
Sure.
You guys were talking. I just wanted to explain the schedule. Okay. We're ready, Your Honor.
Okay. Bring the jury back in, please. As a jury, welcome back. You guys may have a seat. Obviously, I'm in receipt of your note and will certainly abide by your wishes in that regard. You gave a time on Friday of 6. Is that time also for today and tomorrow, or is it can be a little bit later, the next couple? Okay, a little bit later. Okay, that's helpful. Talking to the attorneys, I think we'll be able to do quite a bit today. We'll know more this afternoon, and so I feel the only unknown factor is how long deliberations take. Guilty, not guilty, guilty of a lesser included. So as you can understand, I trust you guys understand that I have to make preparations one way or another, not knowing what may happen, and that's all we're trying to do. So I certainly appreciate you guys. The attorneys have been great working that out with me in the midst of a case up like this. So I appreciate everyone's cooperation in that regard. But we're going to get going this afternoon. With that said, State, you may call your next witness.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Damian Hatch.
All right, Mr. Hatch, come over here to your right. Watch your step as you come forward. If you need a glass of water, let us know. We'll do our best to accommodate you, of course. If there's an objection made during the course of your testimony, I just ask that you pause, let me rule on the objection. We'll go from there. And we can lower the microphone for him. And just use that microphone to kind of project your voice so everyone can hear what you're saying, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. With that said, Mr. Skinner, you may inquire. You're ready.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. Will you state your name for the jury, please?
Damian Jerome Hatch.
Will you spell Damien?
Damian.
How old are you, sir?
I'm 39.
Will you tell this jury where you're currently residing?
Right now I'm at Baker County.
At one point in time, were you residing in the pre-trial detention facility commonly referred to as the Duval County Jail?
The last in 2022.
All right. Were you in custody at the pretrial detention facility starting in July of 2019 until you sit here today?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you a convicted felon?
Yes, sir.
And how many felony convictions do you have?
2.
All right. Now, when you were at the pretrial detention facility, also known as the Duval County Jail, did you meet, sir, an individual by the name of Johnathan Quiles?
Yes, sir.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Can you point him out for our jury and give us an idea of where he's seated and an article of clothing he's wearing, please? You state for the record.
He's sitting over there, sir.
What color shirt?
Blue.
Is he wearing glasses?
Yes, sir.
Is he on the far right of the courtroom as he relates to you?
Yes, sir.
Seated next to counsel.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may the record reflect he's identified the defendant.
So reflective.
Thank you, sir. How did you meet the defendant at the pretrial detention facility?
We was in the same part.
And will you define what you mean by that?
We was living in the same dorm,
Right.
living area.
I want to talk to you about what a dorm is. Will you explain for our jury first, are there multiple bunks within a dorm, or how is it situated, please?
It's a gang of cells in one dorm.
All right. Do you know approximately how many cells are in a dorm?
Probably about 20, 30.
And approximately how many individual inmates are in each cell?
It's 3 per cell.
All right. Are there time periods within your dorm that the inmate cells are open?
Yes, sir.
Where you can come and go freely?
Yes, sir.
All right. Were you in any kind of group with the defendant at the pretrial detention facility?
Yes, sir.
What kind of group were you in with him?
Bible study.
Right.
Bible study.
Did you start and join a group of a Bible study around the time period of July of 2019?
Yes, sir.
Approximately.
Yes, sir.
All right. And how long did you remain in that group?
I was in that group for probably like some months.
All right. Some months. Is that what you said?
Yeah, some months.
All right. Did this Bible study group meet on a daily basis?
Yes, sir.
Was the defendant in that group?
Yes, sir.
Approximately how many total were in this particular group?
I want to say about 15.
All right. Where did that particular Bible study take place? Was it within the dorm itself? Where was it?
It was in the day room,
All right. What is that?
like a common area where all of us be at.
Okay. During the time period, I think you described it as months on a daily basis, did you get to know the defendant in that group?
Yes, sir.
Did you befriend him?
Yes, sir.
Did you get along with him?
Yes, sir.
Did you and him talk often?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree that you would speak to him every day?
Yes, sir.
Now, were you in the same, what you're calling a cell with him, or were you in a separate cell?
Separate cell.
Were you both in the same pod or the same dorm, as you call it?
Yes, sir.
while you were in the same pod or the same dorm, were you able to talk with him as you walk freely amongst the particular pod or dorm?
Yes, sir.
Did you do that on a daily basis?
Yes, sir.
Did you become friendly with him during that time period?
Yes, sir.
And again, this was dating back to July of 2019, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did there come a time, Mr. Hatch, where the defendant opened up to you and start talking to you about his case?
Yes, sir.
You know approximately, best you can, when that happened.
2022, February.
All right, so early of 2022?
Yes, sir.
Had you been in the same pod or cell, as you call it, with the defendant dating back to 2019?
Yes, sir.
Is that approximately almost 3 years you were together? Is that true, sir?
Yes, sir.
You see him on a daily basis?
Yes, sir.
Always maintain a good relationship with him?
Yes, sir.
Always friendly with him?
Yes, sir.
Now, first tell us, what did you notice about him that caused you to ask him something? Did you notice anything by his outward appearance that drew your concern?
Yeah, something was wrong. Something was like bothering him. He was looking down and emotional that day.
Right. And when you say looking emotional, can you describe with any kind of detail? Was he kind of sulking about? Was he visibly upset? Kind of describe for us what you saw that said he looked down to you.
He's just looking not normal, not happy, not smiling.
Thank you, sir. Did these observations that you made, did it cause you to then ask him, was there anything wrong?
Yes, sir.
Was it just the two of you present, the best you can recall?
Yes, sir.
And where specifically? Was it in the dorm? Were you standing in someone's bunk? Where was it?
In the day room.
All right. Were there other inmates around? At least, maybe not within earshot, but at least just around.
Yes, sir.
Was it just the two of you talking, though?
Yes, sir.
All right. When you asked him if anything was wrong, well, just tell the jury, what specifically did you ask him?
I just asked him what was wrong.
All right. And did he respond immediately? You start talking to you about it.
He kind of paused and then responded.
All right. Sir, the best you can, based on the response that he gave you, will you tell this jury what he said to you?
Say he had sex with his niece.
All right. And did he say anything happened as a result of them having sex?
She became pregnant.
All right. Did he say her name at all, best you can recall?
No, sir.
All right. Did he say what, if anything, he wanted to do once she got pregnant?
He wanted her to get rid of the baby.
What, if anything, did he say about his wife finding out?
She would be very upset if she found out.
Did he mention whether he had any other children?
Yeah, he said he had a daughter and soon a newborn son at the time.
All right. Did he say whether his niece was wanting to get rid of the baby?
Yes, sir.
Did he say the family was supporting her and trying to get her to have the baby? Anything like that? Best you can recall.
No, he said nothing about it.
All right. Now, with respect to his niece, did there come a time period where she made the decision not to get rid of the baby? Did he tell you that?
Yes, sir.
All right. What, if anything, did he say with respect to when she decided to have the baby and not get rid of the baby?
He said she gonna she not gonna get rid of it. She gonna run away with the baby.
Did he tell you how he was going to try to get her to run away?
He was like she was gonna run away, and she called him that morning, and he told her where to meet him at. And then when they met up, he just started choking her and
Go ahead.
threw her body in the dumpster.
All right. Did he say, first and foremost, when they talked, where they were supposed to meet up that day?
At his work, at his job.
At his work? Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
Make sure our record's clear. Did he say where he worked?
I don't remember exactly.
All right. Did he say how he was trying to get her to meet him up with him at work?
Yeah, it was a secret spot, at his work spot.
Right.
And
Did he define what a secret spot at work is to you any further?
He was saying he told her to tell nobody and go to the Pacific spot at the job.
What was he telling you that he told her they were going to do once they met up? What did he tell her?
He told her to meet up, and then after they meet up, I guess
Don't guess. Tell me what he said.
he just said, meet up at the spot. Then when they meet up, don't tell no one. Then when they met up, that's when he choked her. And then she said she wasn't dying. Then he pulled his gun out and shot her.
All right. Did he say where he pulled his gun out and shot her?
He said in the same spot they met up at.
The words he used were a secret spot at work. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What, if anything, did he tell you with what he did with her once he shot her?
He said just once he shot her, he threw her body in the dumpster.
You say where that dumpster was?
I guess at the one at the job site.
Don't guess. I'm asking you what he told you about where that dumpster
Oh, the
was.
dumpster that was right there at the time.
Okay. At his work?
Yes, sir.
Did he say he had told anybody else about this?
Right after he did it, he said he called his brother.
Did he name his brother to you?
He ain't never say the name.
All right. Did he tell you he told his brother what he did?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Hatch, what, if anything, did he say about whether that baby was actually his? Did he say it was?
Yes, sir.
Did he say anything about this particular niece having a sibling or any other siblings?
He said she had a sister, and he was having sex with the sister, too.
Judge, at this time, would you court, because we're going to dive into that a little bit, will you just read that instruction one more time, just out of abundance of caution?
Regarding SS?
Yes, sir.
Members of the jury, this is the same instruction I gave you yesterday prior to SS testifying. I'm going to reread it to you, given the testimony you're about to hear. The evidence you are about to receive concerning other crimes, wrongs, or acts allegedly committed by the defendant will be considered by you for the limited purpose of proving motive, opportunity, intent, plan, absence of mistake or accident, and corroboration of IS as to count 3, and motive as to counts 1 and 2, and you shall consider it only as it relates to those issues. However, The defendant is not on trial for a crime, wrong, or act that is not included in the indictment.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Mr. Hatch, did the defendant tell you that this niece who was pregnant with his baby had a sister?
Yes, sir.
What, if anything, did he tell you was going on between him and that sister?
He said he was having sex with the sister too.
Right. Did he name that sister?
No, sir.
Now, did he say anything about how long he was having sex with her sister?
No, sir.
Did he indicate whether it was a one-time thing or whether it was a multiple-time thing, if he said?
No, sir.
Did he just reference it with one comment?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did he say anything to you more about either what he did to his niece at his work or the sister? Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Now, Mr. Hatch, did you get moved out of the dorm shortly after this?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember approximately how long?
Probably like a month or two after that.
Did you decide to come forward with this information after that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you do that by writing a letter either to the state attorney's office or your lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Did a Detective Abbott come see you and discuss that with you?
Yes, sir.
Ms. French later come see you?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Hatch, in any of these meetings with Detective Abbott, with Ms. French, even myself, or any member of the state of Florida, the state attorney's office, has anybody ever promised you anything in exchange for this testimony?
No, sir.
And you're certain of that?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Will you tell this jury if you're expecting or hoping for anything in exchange for this? Are you hoping that a court would recognize this at a later date? Would you say that?
No, sir.
All right. Will you explain, lastly, sir, why you came forward? What prompted you to make the decision? I'm going to go tell the state attorney's office this. Why?
Because I was talking about it with a dude I was locked up with in Baker County, and he told me it's a good idea to come forward with the information.
All right. And did that take you some weeks to do that?
Yes, sir.
Why are you helping out then? Just because he told you, or did you make the decision yourself?
I just felt like it was wrong and it was the right thing to do.
Yes, sir. One moment, Your Honor. Nothing further, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hatch.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
All right.
All righty. Okay, let's get right into it. So you just told us about this conversation that you had with Mr. Quiles, and you told us that it was in February of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that would have been about a year and a half ago from now,
Yes, ma'am.
approximately.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You said that you had been in the Duval County Jail from about July of 2019.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I just said yes, ma'am.
Okay. Up until this time period when you had this conversation, and then maybe a couple months after that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Throughout that about 3-year period of time, you testified that you were housed in the same area as Mr. Quiles.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For that whole entire period of time, you were housed in the same area, meaning same dorm as him.
Not the whole 19, but probably like a year together.
Okay. Do you recall being on one side of the 5th floor for most of 2020 all the way up until February of 2022?
Say that one more time.
You recall being on one side of the 5th floor of the Duval County Jail for most of 2020 all the way up until February of 2022?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you recall being on the same dorm as Mr. Quiles from 2020 all the way up until February of 2022?
We was housed together for about a year.
Okay. So out of that time period of 3 years, 2 of those years you were not housed in the same dorm as him.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Do you recall coming into the same dorm as Mr. Quiles in February of 2022? Specifically, February 11th of 2022. Do you recall that time period being accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On February 11th, 2022, when you came into the same dorm area as Mr. Quiles, you're telling us that this conversation happened sometime in that same month.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let me ask you about this Bible study. So you stated that you and Mr. Quiles attended this Bible study together regularly.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was throughout that entire time when you were housed in the same dorm.
Yes, ma'am.
Because that Bible study happens in that dorm, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't happen in some other area like cafeteria or something like that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
It happens in that common area right where that dorm is, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you weren't in the same dorm, you wouldn't be in that same Bible study, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Who ran that Bible study? If you don't know his real name, you can give us the name you know him by.
Brother D.
All right. Brother D. Do you know his real name to be Ulysses Dixon?
I think so. If I ain't make a mistake. I said I think so. If I ain't make a mistake, I always say Brother D.
All right. Thank you. And do you have a nickname that you go by?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that nickname Dino?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Throughout the time period that you were attending that Bible study, it's your testimony that Mr. Quiles was attending that Bible study along with you.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys would do that almost daily.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're confident that that time period was February of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't know the exact date in February, but it's in that 2-week period because you came February 11th through the end of that month, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you're telling this jury that after Bible study, that Bible study you all were going to day, Mr. Quiles broke down and kind of told you this story and these crimes that he committed.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to talk to you about your current situation. You're in custody currently, obviously.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you've already testified that you had 2 prior felony convictions, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're currently you have charges that are pending right now, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are those charges for?
A violation of probation in a federal facility.
Okay. And the basis of that charge, that probation is?
Probably about 2 or 3 years.
Okay. And you have a violation that's pending. You're waiting for sentencing on that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And that's been pending for about how long? Do you know?
Since 2019.
Okay. So this has been pending pretty much the length of this court case.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And it's not been resolved yet because we're waiting on you to testify here today, aren't you?
No, ma'am.
You stated on direct that you have not been promised anything.
Yes, ma'am.
And that you're actually not even hoping for anything whatsoever.
Yes, ma'am.
But actually the way you even learned about how to contact the state attorney's office was from a person that you said you talked to who actually had cooperated with the state attorney's office before, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he actually explained to you how cooperation works, didn't he?
Nah, no, ma'am. He ain't not no.
He actually talked. Sorry, go ahead. Were you done? I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't realize you were still talking. Go ahead.
Nah, he never explained about the cooperation part.
He gave you instructions on how to contact the state's attorney's office to provide information on a case, correct?
Yeah, he told me how to get in contact with him.
He also told you about his cooperation in past cases, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. He told you how that went for him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You didn't know that information before talking to him.
Yes, ma'am.
And he actually talked to you about the benefit that it could be to your case if you were to testify, correct?
Yeah, no, he ain't never tell me that I'm gonna get nothing off for it. He just told me he got something off for it. before.
Correct.
Yeah.
He told you that the state says, we can't promise you anything, but then he told you that you get a note that says you've had substantial cooperation. Didn't he tell you that?
No, man, he ain't never told me that.
You attended that Bible study that you talked about, and with Brother D running that for that time period, even after February of 2022, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I left the dorm like April.
All right. And when you attend that Bible study, do you recall actually signing in to that Bible study on like a little sign-in sheet that Brother D had?
Yes, ma'am.
And he would have you doing that daily, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you missed a few, he would follow up on you and say, hey, you haven't been to Bible study lately.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you came regularly, day to day to day, he would reward you. He would give you commissary and things like that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you find it shocking if the man who you just described came here and said that you and Mr. Quiles never attended that Bible study together?
Yeah, but
If he says, in fact, Mr. Quiles never really attended that Bible study until 2023, would that shock you?
no, ma'am.
Would it shock you that he actually would say, you and Mr. Quiles never interacted? That y'all weren't friends? That y'all had no relationship whatsoever? Would that shock you?
No, ma'am.
It wouldn't shock you because that's the truth, correct?
No, ma'am.
Nothing further.
Nothing further. Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Hatch, good to see you, sir.